is this student loan forgiveness, is it going to backfire against Biden? Because I think there's a very big risk that it will, because you have the number of people who didn't go to college and are not college graduates far exceeds the number who have graduated from college. And so there's a lot of questions about why are some of the poorest people going to be subsidizing the wealthiest people? And then there's also the constitutionality of going outside the power of the purse, which the Constitution says is the power of Congress. And then there's also the fact that this does nothing to actually stop the increasingly above inflation rise in education. It doesn't actually go after universities. It doesn't go after their endowments. It doesn't say stop increasing tuition above these insane, well above inflation rates. Nothing. So, I mean, what do you think about this? Is it going to backfire for him politically?
Well, frankly, I think it should. And this is one area where we agree 100%. And you actually made 3 of the 4 points that I was going to make. And that is, first of all, if you're going to, this was just, by the way, this was some progressive wish list promise that he made during the campaign. And that's why he's doing it. I think he was on a roll. I think it was bad. I think, first of all, as you said, it does nothing to address the problem. Why have college tuitions gone up multiple times the rate of inflation? Because as Warren Buffett says, it's always easier to spend other people's money. And on top of that, it's gone towards bloated administrations and salaries. It hasn't gone towards things that helps the kids. Secondly, politically, I think it's very stupid, because put aside the fact that it doesn't help a lot of deserving people, but it reinforces this narrative of the Democratic Party, that the party has gone away from being the party of the working class to being the party of the rich, successful college elites. And third, I agree, Congress has the power of the purse to go outside and basically spend $500 billion that is money that Congress should be spent. I totally agree with you. So I think it's just a little cockiness. You know, he was on a roll. He said, all right, I've had a streak of wins. I can slip this in and it's not going to hurt me. And in the end, you know, maybe it won't, but some of those great ads I saw that are running in Republican states where they have waitresses and, you know, steel workers and people that are in the service economy say, hey, Mr. NBA, enjoy, your tuition's on me. And on top of that, what if you're a hardworking person that's worked to pay off your college loans? And the final thing that you didn't mention that I would say is, I'm sick of all these freebies, okay? He could have salvaged the whole program if he said, you know what, I'm going to give you $10,000. Or if you're a Pell Grant recipient, I'm going to give you $20,000, but I need you to volunteer. Give back, work a little bit. It's just another handout. And it reinforces this narrative about the Democratic Party, that the Democratic Party is a party of handouts. So it's 360 degrees of wrong. And again, there are other ways that you can appeal to your base, just like with the speech. So we have disagreements, but this is one case where we are 100% in agreement. Your final thoughts?
No, I'm totally with you. And you're right. I mean, like, I had student loans, and people like me who worked hard to pay them off, and I prioritized paying them off, we're chumps. We feel like chumps. And it was very embodied, I thought, really well by the gentleman who asked Elizabeth Warren that question, am I going to get my money back? And she said, of course not. And she just sounded so dismissive and flippant. And that went viral because people like Elizabeth Warren, who lived on a very inflated salary as a Harvard law professor and exploited Native American people in order to get that inflated salary, she just sounded so out of touch.
No, and again, it's one of those things. If he'd said, you know, you have to work for it or you've got to do some service, then at least people like you who had paid off their loans, you could say, well, I may not agree with it, but at least it's not a freebie, and it wouldn't be as much of a slap in the face. And by the way, this is yet another example of how everyone doesn't have to go to college. A lot of these colleges underperform. They're scams, or you can get the same services and education elsewhere for less. Bring back vocational training. Okay, I live in Northern California. Plumbers and electricians around here make a fortune. You can have a wonderful 6-figure salary. It's a demand curve that's not going to change, and you don't have to go to college. And we used to do that.